going to call this special meeting of the Seward City Council to order at 12 noon on Thursday, April 6, 2023. Assistant City Manager, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Assistant or Acting Clerk Pat, would you please call the roll?
Okay, roll call. Wells.
Yes.
Osenga.
Here.
DeMoss.
Here.
Finch.
Here.
Barnwell.
Here.
Calhoun.
Here.
And Mayor McClure.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We're now to citizen comments on any subject except those items scheduled for public hearing. You'll have 3 minutes. And I think I know the answer to the question, but Mr. Peck, is there anyone signed in?
There's nobody signed in.
Is there anyone out there that would wish to speak? I see none. So we'll move on, and I would ask for a motion and a second to approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, Mr. Peck, we're ready to vote.
Okay, voting on the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. Calhoun.
Yes.
Barnwell.
Yes.
DeMoss.
Yes.
Osenga.
Yes.
Wells.
Yes.
Finch.
Yes.
And Mayor McClure.
Yes.
Okay, your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and there are no items on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. I'm apologizing for my voice. It's barely there because of a cold. The only item of business we have is to review the applications received by Human Resources for the city clerk position resulting from the internal job posting. And as we know from the packet, there was only one applicant. And what I'd like to do at this time is make a motion so we can get the discussion going. So I'm going to move to offer the city clerk position to Chris Peck, commencing May 22nd, 2023, contingent on successful contract negotiations. And I'd ask for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, and now we can discuss this. And my thoughts are that he's doing a great job, and he's qualified, and I'd like to vote yes on this. And is there other discussion? I'll start with Mr. Peters.
Well, I mean, I like him too. My concern is he's only been in that position for what, a year, maybe?
December 2021 was when I was hired.
The experience level is my concern.
Okay, other discussion?
Well, I have a question,
And him.
and I apologize because I'm obviously out of the loop on our executive session.
We can choose to go into an executive session if there's discussion that needs to be had.
Oh, okay.
At this point, if we don't need the executive session, we can, if it's not anything too personal, I made the motion so we can discuss
Okay.
now because we needed the motion. So
Okay.
if we're comfortable just discussing in public, then that would eliminate the need for the executive session. Councilmember DeMoss.
Wouldn't that be up to the applicant, because it's him that we're discussing, if we would go into executive session, if they choose that or not, if we have questions regarding experience and such?
Potentially.
I don't mind if you want to keep it public. If you feel more comfortable in an executive session, I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
Okay, well, maybe you could just let us know if it gets, I mean, we're in a discussion mode now. We just need to, Councilmember Wells.
Thank you. So I just have a question about the, says you're closing on your certified municipal clerk development 2 training in June. So if he's to take this position in May, are these requirements required for the position? I'm unaware.
We could ask the HR director for that.
There is. I do not have a copy of the job description, but I need to go get that.
Well, I would go to HR first.
Yes, ma'am. I would need to go and grab a copy
Oh.
of that job description real quick.
From what I recall, it was
I
like
don't have
strongly
that.
preferred.
I think that's what it said.
And I believe in the revised one that Brenda submitted, which was postponed, it was required, but in the existing one, it's
That's my recollection too, and within a month or less, he would be having it. So
Okay, so,
I don't know that we need to see that, but yeah, Councilmember Wells.
all right, so if it's not required, then there's not an issue. But if it does pass, if the job description, that's what we were talking about, changes and it comes back,
Oh.
I mean, if it was to come back and we did vote, then it would be required. And so would we postpone that coming back until he has his certification? Or do we postpone it indefinitely?
We postponed, as my recollection is, we postponed it indefinitely.
Okay,
And that was your
Yes, I believe that's what we did.
motion. So, yeah, that's off the table now. We're, right now, operating under the original job description for the clerk.
perfect.
Yeah. Councilmember Demas.
So, thank you for applying, Chris, and thank you for stepping to the plate. I believe that you would do a great job, and I have also had input from some of your colleagues and some folks in the community who have the same feeling. I believe that anything that you don't know, you are capable and motivated to learn from what I know. And honestly, I think it's a no-brainer, so I support it 100%. That's where I'm at.
Thank you. Other input? Councilmember Cavan.
Of course, there's other input, Mayor. Then I have no brain, because I don't support this, and it has nothing to do with my belief that Chris Peck will be a very, very, very good city clerk. I've had discussions with other members in the community also have come to me, and they all like Chris. They believe that he will be a very good city clerk. He has done a good job for us. I just feel like we would be better serving the community and serving Chris, honestly, if we were to open this up to the public and see what else, what other applicants, what other experience is out there that may be interested in the position. And again, I've had a discussion with Chris about this subject. He knows how I feel about it. It's not personal with him. It's more of a professional thing, because we're asking somebody with 1 year and 4 months of experience to step into a position that could last 2 years. There could be a new council in 2 years, and a new council could not renew a contract. With any of those positions like that, whether it's a city manager, city clerk, there is always that possibility, because they kind of serve at will in certain ways. And my professional gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, is I think that, we can't talk for him. He's already kind of shown what he would like to do, but I just feel like we would be better served, he would be better served if we gave him the opportunity to gain some more experience in the position that he's in. And then at the right time, obviously, the plan is to develop him to become the city clerk in Seward, if that's his long-term goal. I want to give us the opportunity to see what other options might be out there of more experienced individuals. And, that's kind of my thought. We wouldn't hire, I don't believe, I wouldn't look at hiring a new city manager that had been a deputy city manager for 1 year and 4 months. So I just think we would be better served as a council, the community would be better served, and Chris would be better served if we opened this up to the general public for maybe 30 days It doesn't mean that he wouldn't end up being the candidate in the end anyway, but it would just give us more opportunity to see what other talent experience is out there. And that is my thought.
Okay. Yes, Councilmember Wells.
Would it be appropriate if Chris could respond to Councilmember Calhoun's concerns?
I don't know, I guess. I would think if you choose.
I mean, I don't really have much to say on that other than, I see where he's coming from. You want the peace of mind knowing that it went out to everybody in the public and everybody had a chance to apply for it. Someone possibly with more experience, then you would at least have that peace of mind knowing that that you tried, I guess.
Councilmember Wells.
Sorry, go ahead.
Councilmember Demolis.
I'm okay.
Councilmember Wells.
So then I guess, can you tell us why you're qualified currently with a year and some months behind you, why you are qualified right now for this position?
Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this job opportunity to present itself at this point in time. It was quite a surprise to me. So I'm not saying that I have the necessary experience, and I'm aware that I've only been here, a short amount of time. However, I've worked closely with the city clerk, and I know the system probably better than anyone else, so I can't really imagine who else would be more qualified.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
And Councilmember Barton.
Yeah, I would like to back that up with, I think we underestimate in these small towns, most of us have lived here long enough, that there's a lot to get to know about these towns, and Chris has so much background and is embedded in this community so deeply that's invaluable. And we could get someone with 10 years of experience that wouldn't have the background of Seward that may come and go rather quickly.
Councilmember Finch.
On that same note of what he's saying, but that 10 years of experience as a clerk, they would depend on him for his hometown knowledge. I fully agree with Councilmember Calhoun. My prior experiences when I had staff that were wanting to step up through the system, they had to gain that experience and not just 6 months. It was 2 to 3 years of experience to go to sergeant, lieutenants, and all that other stuff. I like Chris, but I'd like to see if we can. We're heading into some dark waters with new city manager, new city clerk. We should wrap ourselves with as much experience as we can get around that.
Okay. Well, my thoughts are that that's the very reason to appoint Mr. Peck to this position, because we've got someone with local knowledge of the city. As mayor, I've worked with him on just before meetings. He's very attentive to what's going on. He's run several meetings, and I really appreciate that he would ask me how, am I okay with this or that in the context of a particular meeting. One of the things that will happen, should we approve Mr. Peck and we go through the negotiations, is ultimately there will be an advertising for the assistant city clerk, and so there will be an holistic advertising for that, and that's just, so then there will be the next one in line that will be coming up. So I'm perfectly comfortable with voting for Mr. Peck today. It's just my opinion. Vice Mayor Osang.
So
Sorry.
I also am in favor of Mr. Peck for this position, but what I'm wondering is, or what I might suggest is an evaluation in 6 months.
Oh, we would.
Definitely.
I think that's part of the negotiation.
Well, yeah, and I'm just saying that might.
I think that's standard.
Okay, thank you.
I would guess.
Yes,
I
that would
could
be,
ask-
excuse me, part of the negotiation is that we could put a time that within 6 months he would be
Right.
reevaluated at that
And
point.
should this be voted in the positive, then we will be discussing the negotiation team and stuff today.
Correct.
Councilmember DeMoss.
So along with the negotiation team, if it passes, would that include, because we're in the midst of that job description, I mean, would that be a time, would it be appropriate for that to be a time to clean up the job description so we can make sure that we're all on the same page and
I'm not sure.
have this, make sure he understands what our expectations are when we are actually offering him, when we're negotiating?
I'm not sure, but I'm feeling that this particular, correct me if I'm wrong, but this particular application is based on the current job description.
Correct, that's what.
But then we could go ahead, we've tabled that indefinitely, the new job description, but we could go on and, any time we want, but the current job description is what we're discussing. And right now, the motion is, whether to appoint Mr. Patrick, so. Councilmember DeMoss.
I guess so. I just have a question for Chris. If he is applying for the job based on this current job description, are you open to working with us to fine tune that job description, knowing that we do have some concerns with it and we would like to work together to figure out what the best job description is and make sure that we all understand and are on the same page?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Councilmember West.
Can you, not just for me, but for the public, since we're talking about experience, what's entailed with the certified municipal clerk? What's that certification? What's that piece of paper tell us?
So it's a combination of like education points and experience points, and you kind of plug in, what you have into their formula, and then they give you the CMC designation. So like, for example, the professional development 2 training in Tacoma, it counts for a certain amount of points for education, and then you combine that with real life experience points, and then eventually you have enough to obtain your CMC. And then the next designation after that is the MMC, Master Municipal Clerk, which is what Brenda has. So there's opportunities there to keep learning and keep getting more certifications.
Is it?
May I ask a
Councilmember
follow-up?
Wells, sure.
So then, what you're saying is that even though you've got a year and a few months under your belt here as the assistant, you will in June have the requirements nationwide to be a city clerk. Is that correct? CMC?
To be a certified municipal clerk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in June, you would be considered eligible for that position anywhere nationwide?
I don't know if it necessarily
Or,
ties.
it doesn't work that way.
ties
That's what I mean.
into-
I apologize. I don't know how it
Yeah,
actually
it's more
works.
of like an additional certification in the way that like Karen has her certified administrative professional designation now.
Mhm.
She received a proclamation for it. She didn't necessarily need that to be in her position.
Got
It's
it.
like an additional kind of kudos type thing.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Barnwell.
Yeah, kind of on Councilmember Wells' question, Chris, can you elaborate what makes a good clerk and how you fit that role? For instance, are you going to continue on your education towards a master's? And what draws you to the profession? What makes you a good clerk?
I think a lot of the same things that would make me a good deputy city clerk, which is a role I'm really enjoying. Just working with the public, working with administration, working with the council, how it all ties together. And it's just kind of a perpetual motion calendar of events that keeps things interesting, and it's always forward progress. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far. I think I have a great gig as a deputy city clerk.
Thank you. Well, I'll start with Mr. Finch.
My one question is, why didn't we put this out in public in the beginning? I'm just curious about that. To see what all's out there, to include him.
I think it's been traditionally done this way because in the past, Brenda moved up, she was in Chris's position.
Okay.
And then when the previous clerk left, that's, so it was, and traditionally, correct me if I'm wrong again, the city does advertise in-house for a period of 5 days or whatever.
Correct.
So we're following protocol by that, the initial part. Councilmember Calhoun.
Okay, so I guess, again, back to my own thoughts, we don't really know. I guess what I'm looking for is, can't we advertise to the public for 30 days? Because we honestly can't sit here and say there is not a qualified individual that knows Seward out there if we don't ask. I've already had 2 or 3 names thrown at me by people in the community. And I guess my concern is that, what we need is we need some strong leadership. We need some strong abilities. And I'm not saying that Chris doesn't have that. What I'm saying is we don't know the talent that is sitting out there waiting for an opportunity that may better serve us for a few years while Chris continues to gain his experience to move into that chair. And I don't feel like if we extend this out to the public for 30 days and maybe we don't get any applications, maybe we get half a dozen applications, maybe if we get that and we look at it all and the majority goes, he's the guy, then we've done our due diligence to actually see what we have available to us that we're sitting here right now and we don't know.
Councilmember Daniels.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Councilmember Calhoun, but I do feel that you need to also recognize what you have. And in my experience of hiring people and retaining employees, I've found to be much more successful when I take an employee who's already invested in my company and me and wants to do a good job and wants to learn and give them the opportunity and support to get to the place where they need to be to fill that position. And if I don't maybe support them and move them into that position, and I pick someone else off the street that has better, looks better on paper, then I run the risk, and I have experienced this before, where you lose that good employee because they're looking to excel and they have it in them and someone else is going to jump on it. So I really do, in my gut and with my experience, feel that this is the right move, and I'm very excited about the potential of Chris being our clerk. That's where I'm at.
Councilmember Wells.
Thank you. I absolutely understand where Councilmember Calhoun and Councilmember Finch are coming from. Chris, you said that, so it's a year and 4 months since you've been the assistant, right? If we had, and I know that we are not prepared to answer this question, but I'm curious, how long was your position open and advertised in the community before you took it? Because if we have this pool of people who wanted to be in the city clerk position, a year and 4 months ago, they would have applied for his position that he has right now.
Mr. Peck, do you recall?
I'm not sure on the details on that
Yeah.
one. Tammy might know, but
Yeah, I can find that out
Well-
for you.
But do you see what,
Here.
and one last
Yeah,
thing
go
if I
ahead.
may. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chris, is one of my concerns is there's a great theory out there called the Peter Principle. I'm not sure if anybody in here has ever heard of it, but being promoted above your ability too soon, too early.
Right.
And I believe what Councilmember Calhoun is trying to state is that there's a concern that if you get promoted above your ability, we're almost setting you up to fail. And that's the Peter Principle, right? So I guess the question to you is, do you believe by taking this position you're being set up to fail?
You can choose to answer
I
that.
appreciate your concern. I don't think I would be setting myself up to fail. I think I would excel in the position and learn what I needed to learn and be able to do it.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll repeat that there will be a advertising for the assistant clerk position. So all of those local people that think they want to be a clerk, they can apply for that equally well. Is there any more discussion? We have a motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote? Okay, acting clerk Peck, do you want to read the motion or should I reread the motion?
Would you mind rereading
Okay.
it?
The motion I made, I wrote it down so I'd have it just right. I move to offer the city clerk position to Chris Peck commencing May 22nd, 2023, contingent on successful contract negotiations. And then it was seconded. Okay, are we ready to vote on that? It seems we are.
Okay.
Mr. Peck?
Calhoun?
No.
Wells?
Yes.
Barnwell?
Yes.
Finch?
No.
DeMoss?
Yes.
Osenga?
Yes.
And Mayor McClure?
Yes.
Okay, that motion has passed.
Okay. So, congratulations. We will offer the job. The next thing that we need to do, and it won't take very long, I've been told by HR, we need to choose we call it a negotiating team
Correct.
for the contract negotiations. This would be, setting the salary and this and that. We do this exact thing for incoming city managers too. And I need to be on it as mayor. And I'd ask our HR director, Tammy Nickel, to be on it because she's instrumental in making up contracts. And one or two other council members, if there are volunteers. Otherwise, I will assign someone. So this would involve probably one meeting, I think. It shouldn't, and then we can set the time as. So is anyone interested in that? Okay, Councilmember DeMoss. Good job. And Vice Mayor Osenga. Okay, that should be enough. Okay.
Perfect.
So the team will make a plan through email or something about when to meet and discuss these things. So let me reiterate, the negotiation team will be myself, Vice Mayor Osenga, Councilmember DeMoss, and HR Director Nichols. Okay. And I believe that's all we are planning to do today on our agenda, correct? I'm just checking with administration. I mean, there's no other things to deal with this, okay, other than offer congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so, moving along, citizens' comments at the end of the meeting. We have a citizen sitting out here. Do you want to comment?
May I?
You may. You will need your name and inside or
Dwayne
outside.
Atwood, Inside City Limits. Some of you know me. I'm the port manager for the Alaska Railroad, and Mr. Peck doesn't need anyone to speak to his character, but I've worked with him in 3 capacities now, I believe. I spent several years at the Community Development Department, and he was doing parking management for some time. Of course, I've worked with him at the Alaska Railroad, and then I sit on the Port and Commerce Advisory Board, and he clerks for that body. And his intelligence and his dedication, they're without question. And just sort of speaking to some reservations about hiring someone without, substantial experience in this field, I would think, training standards, performance standards should help. Anyway, I think you made a good choice. And anyway, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? I see no one, so I'm assuming not. And so this brings it back to council and administration comments and responses to citizens' comments. Administration, do you have any comments?
I would just say for administration's part, the most important thing that the city manager, myself, the department heads need from a city clerk is one who is collaborative, communicative, and positive, and Chris is definitely that. Norm and I sit as the administrative liaison to the Port and Commerce Advisory Board, and I have the pleasure of working with Chris as he clerks those meetings, and yeah, thank you.
Okay. We'll go around the room. I'm going to start with Mr. Finch.
I just worry about experience, but I do believe he's got the abilities. You know, we got a tough road ahead of us with everything that's on our plate, and I like to have experience. So, like I said, congratulations, Chris. Let's see what the road brings us.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Barnwell.
Yeah, I've known Chris for years and his family, and I just see him as a very intelligent and thorough thinker, and I think that's what we need in this position. I'm really excited to have him in this position.
Thank you. Councilmember Calhoun.
Yeah, congratulations, Chris. I don't want anybody to misconstrue my comments that I don't believe that Chris has the intelligence, ability, or the integrity to fill the position. But my position is always one of openness and opportunity, and I will always feel that we could have waited an additional 30 days advertised to the general public and may still have come to the same conclusion, but we would have given that opportunity. But we'll support Chris and help him to become as successful as he can, because that will make a better life in the community.
Thank you. Councilmember Wells.
Just congratulations, Chris, and I look forward to working with you.
Okay, Councilmember Demas.
Congratulations, Chris. I look forward to working with you. So far, it's been a very positive experience, and I want you to know that I will do whatever I can to support you, and I think our council will, and get you to where everybody needs you to be, and I'm excited for it, so thank you.
Vice Mayor Osenga.
Congratulations, Chris. Thanks for stepping up and applying, and I think you'll do a fine job.
Okay, and I also offer you my congratulations, and I think this is a very good choice. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you. I also wanted to mention that maybe I could announce about the town hall meetings in my closing comments, that there have been scheduled 2 town hall meetings concerning not this subject, but the electrical HEA buyout question, and they're on the 12th and 19th at 5:30 at the Gateway, and they're actually the town hall meetings that people have been asking for. So there will be more word about these, but just in case anybody's watching right now, just so you know. And that's all I've got to say, except I guess we can adjourn at 12:33.